flexing their might like this. I do love that shit. Have you watched Physical 100 on Netflix? Seems like the perfect show made for you. Yes, but I have some issues with the show. They need more piffy editing. Okay, here, you want to know what my takes are on Physical 100? Wonderful show. First of all, love the idea of being able to fucking put like steroid junkies against like people who do not do steroids. It's what made baseball actually watchable for the duration where it was, you know what I mean? So I'm a fan of that already. Like I just like that. That's something that people I feel like don't really talk about when they're discussing the show, is that like you literally have dudes who are on so much gear competing against like national athletes, competing against like people who just, you know, do fitness as like a side hobby. Okay? But there are parts of the show that are really, really fun and cool. It started off super strong, and then sometimes it's incredibly repetitive, especially if like one of the competitions is like kind of boring and doesn't translate well to being filmed. Because it's like 45 minutes of being stuck on that fucking singular competition, it really makes it awful. It really makes it like almost unwatchable, as a matter of fact. Yeah. There's an Olympic gold medalist versus fucking influencers. Yeah, that's awesome. It's fire. I love that. But the other part of it that I don't like is that they constantly repeat with the audio, like a moment where like someone falls or whatever, and I'm just like, dude, stop. Like, that's just horrible editing. Yeah, the editing is typical to Korean variety shows. Get used to it. Yeah, I don't like that. I really, really don't like that. It's a cultural thing in Korea and Japan. Yeah, it's just not. I don't like that. I'm telling you. Yeah. Would you watch? Would you do a Twitch version of that? No, I'd get my fucking. Actually, that could be kind of fun. Crowded is getting flamed like crazy over recording his phone convo with boring. Wait, what? That's old shit. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like Korean editing, but I don't like it personally. It's not for me. Um, what else? What else? Oh, but like, yeah. For example, the the sandbag competition, the bridge building, then the sandbag competition in like episode 4 and 5 went on for way too long. And I realize like if it's a competition that that doesn't hit, or that doesn't lend itself well to like being viewed, okay, then you're basically stuck for two 50-minute increments of like watching the same competition, and you're just like, come on, dude, come on, speed through this, fast forward through this. Like, the first competition was really good because it broke it into two different parts. So it was like agility and speed versus raw power and like fighting, right? When you, on the one hand, you had like the mud wrestling, and then on the other hand, you had like the course, basically. So like you could actually try and get someone who's like tiny but very agile against someone who's like big and very strong but slow. And that was really good, especially because like there was variety there, so it didn't get like super boring. But the second challenge was kind of boring because it was the same challenge over and over again. And I think like it's a really good show with a really fun premise, and it can get significantly better. But yeah, now like the latest the redemption arc That was like, all right. Here's the sandbag challenge preview. Yeah, here. I'll show you. Like this challenge was boring, and it was like 2 whole fucking episodes.
분명히 이제 레슬러들끼리 같이 올라가자 이랬었는데.
그때 10등집. 은실 때문에 생존이다, 생존.
일단 우리 팀을 뽑아놓고 미안하다고 했는데 뭐.
I love her. She is my queen, by the way. Oh, incredible.
뭐 미안해할 필요는 없을 것 같고 게임은 경기장 안에 들어가봐야지 아는 거니까.
She's so fucking cool.
실전에서 보여드리겠습니다.
이번 퀘스트는 힘의 밸런스와 균형 감각이 중요합니다. 두 팀은 다리를 건너
Yeah, they cross the bridges and fill the tube with sand.
참가자들은 반드시 다리로 이동해야 하며 다리 위에서 팀원끼리 모래주머니를 주고받는 행위는 금지됩니다. 제한 시간은 12분. 제한 시간 동안 모래를 더 많이 채운 팀이 승리하게 됩니다.
My favorite was the other wrestling guy, who's the leader of this team. I love both of them. They're both national team wrestlers for Korea. I love her, and I love him. Like, immediately. And you guys can guess why I love him, obviously, because he's so big and so powerful, and yet, like, as a big boy, he placed sixth. He placed 6th place on the hanging competition, which is, like, really, really difficult to do. It was 40 minutes to introduce the 100. I know the show was going to be painfully slow. So that definitely... Wait, what? The way women are looked down upon? The way women on the show are looked down upon by the men in every single challenge is seen as weaker, as if Zhang Yun still isn't stronger than half these men. I need them to be serious. Okay. I mean, you got to remember, like, the people that she's going up against are literally fucking stronger than she is. These are like some of the strongest men in Korea going up against some of the strongest women in Korea. Okay? Like, yes, she could probably beat the ass of a lot of women, but like there is an episode, there is a wrestling competition between like a Syrium or whatever you call it, like the sand wrestling. The sand wrestling lady literally tries to go up against a fucking rugby player, and the dude folds her like a fucking napkin. Hasan, stop. I mean, it's just so, that's a stupid fucking thing. Like, yeah, if you go up against a fucking freak athlete, even if they're not a wrestler, they're going to use their raw power over you. That's so stupid. That's not misogyny. And you saw it. Like, it happened. At first, I thought, if you are a professional wrestler, okay? If you're a professional wrestler woman, and you're going up against, like, a dude who isn't a freak fucking athlete with like 100 pounds on you, yeah, you can beat their ass for sure. That's why they have weight classes. This has nothing to do with like men versus women even. And yeah, the dude who is a professional rugby player, who was one of the tallest motherfuckers there and had 100 pounds on the professional Syrian wrestler, yeah, folded her like a fucking picnic table. Okay? You know why? You know why? Because he's much larger than her and much stronger than her. It was silly. You know? She's still stronger than 80% of the men. Yeah, she has technique and she's stronger. Yes, she has technique and she's probably stronger. He didn't fold her. It was competitive. He literally picked her up with one arm at a certain point. And not her. I'm not talking about her. She's the national Korean wrestler. I'm talking about the Syrian wrestler that went up against the rugby player. And you're wrong. He literally picked her up like this. He picked her up like this while she was trying to do techniques on him. Like it was a handbag. You're crazy. There was an MMA guy who beat the female wrestler too. Yeah, I think there was another one too. Yeah, against Layman, she could probably beat most fucking random dudes' asses, but like she's not going up against random fucking dudes. She's going up against also like, you know, top level fucking athletes that are also larger than they are. No, 100% I agree. No point to compare the physical power of men and women. Ladies, just accept the difference and use other powers. Like, it's so dumb. Like I don't understand why people fucking I don't understand why people do that. Wasn't there the MMA guy destroyed the female? Oh yeah. The MMA guy and the female bodybuilder. There was another fight. There was a female bodybuilder who was objectively roided out the fucking wazoo and literally was more muscular than the MMA fighter that she was fighting. I actually don't know what their weight differences were. And the MMA guy literally still destroyed the female bodybuilder because for a multitude of different reasons, one of which being that, oh yeah, this is what I was talking about. But not the MMA fighter versus the female bodybuilder. But like one of it is that the female bodybuilder also is like doesn't know any techniques. You know what I mean? But here. Yeah. He's able to utilize this to push him into the water, which is why a lot of people were like, "Oh wow, they're like fucking competitive." No, they weren't. But yeah, that guy who said I'd have gotten even thrown even further, that is a fucking gold medalist Olympic athlete. And I'll be honest with you, if she went up against him, she probably could have beat his ass. Okay? She probably could have. It would have been a hard fight, but ultimately you can't overcome size differences of that massive of that much of a fucking size difference. Like, you're not gonna be able to overcome that. You can't outfight that, no matter how good you are. Especially when the other person is like coordinated, you know, of that magnitude, size difference of that magnitude. Yes. Will it show when he just like picks her up?
갑자기 승부욕이 발동해가지고
성별을 떠나서 죽기 살기로 해야겠다. 진짜 여기서 지면 끝이구나.
근데 삐졌다! 민지야 너 저쪽 피해! 전부 버텨!
I think this is it. This is where he just like, he's like, all right, I'm gonna take the shit seriously now.
좋아. 저 럭키 기술 아니에요? 계속 뛰면 빠데니가 열받는 거예요. 열받는데 입에는 모래를 들어가? 안 되겠네. 40초 남았다, 40초. 방심하면 안 돼. 끝까지 해야 돼. 파이팅! 포기하지 마. 전력을 다해야 돼, 전력으로. 포기하지 마. 빨리 쳐. 오, 진짜 올라. 오.
Is it this? Yeah. She's trying to drop him.
고. 그렇지.
경기가 종료되었습니다.
She's trying to drop him, and he's like holding her off like this, not even close to his body. Yeah. It's not even close at that point. He lifts her at 405. Is that where he lifted her at 405? Like, there was one moment I remember when he just like picks her up, and I was like, oh, that's a crazy fucking size difference. Yeah, right here, this. You can't do anything to that. There's no technique there. She's insane. She's an insanely good fighter. You made it sound like there was a much bigger difference, though. Wait, what do you mean? There is a much bigger size difference. Brother, he's significantly taller than her and significantly larger than her. I don't know if you guys know this, but like women don't have the same amount of muscle mass on their bodies as men do, okay? The difference between testosterone and estrogen and the different levels of testosterone and estrogen coursing through your fucking veins is a dramatic difference in muscle development. What the fuck? You think this is like that's, come on, look at that. There is no woman on the planet in her fighting, in her career that could do that to her, because there is no woman that has that in that specific fighting ring has that size difference. If there was, maybe. They look the same size. You guys are fucking insane, dude. Come on. Like, this is the dumbest thing, because like, yeah, dude, there's literally weight classes for that reason. I don't think you understand. A dude who looks like that, I don't know exactly what their weight, I don't know what exactly his weight is or her weight is, but like I know for a fact that he's taller than most of the other dudes there. To put it like this, do you think she could do the same thing to him? No, of course not. I've been a viewer for a year and I can't believe how sexist you're being. No, that's sexist. Stop, you're being sexist. What? Okay, guys. First of all, none of this is about like, first of all, trans athletes or anything like that. We're not talking about fucking HRT or some shit. So remember that. But like, there's a reason why there aren't any examples of like dudes being like, I'm a woman now, except for fucking right-wing psychos who do that kind of shit, where they're like, oh yeah, what if someone were to say they're a woman now, and then they were able to like outlift all the women in that fucking arena? And it's like, yeah, people don't do that. That's why right-wingers have to like create the fucking meme themselves, okay? Stop saying I'm sexist. You're fucking stupid. She could have avoided that if she wasn't holding the ball. That's also true too. Yes, fair. But I don't think she would be able to pick him up in that similar in a similar way. Like I don't think she's capable of picking him up like that. She tried a couple times. It's so funny. Okay, two men that are the same size, that have trained the exact same way for many, many years in the same field, will still have different outcomes depending on how fights go. That's why sports is interesting and fun and unique. Do you understand? Even if it was two men that are the same size, you never really know the outcome. So even if it was a woman who's the same size as the man and the man wins one fight, that doesn't automatically mean like, oh yeah, women are always going to lose or whatever. That's literally the point of sports. People oftentimes unironically forget the point of sports is that like, you know, there are unique things that happen that you can't factor in. Grit, okay? Being one of the components, like confidence being one of the components, techniques and being able to apply them adequately, one of the components. So obviously in this circumstance, there are all of those factors, but regardless of all those factors, even if everything is right, everything goes right for her, there is a massive size difference. very clearly holding her own against this guy that can lift her whole body on one shoulder. Yes. And that is actually incredibly impressive. That is incredibly impressive. But you have to understand that, like, that's impressive because of the size difference. And that's impressive because he's, like, clearly stronger than she is. That says nothing about, like, fucking men versus women, or that doesn't make it sexist. It's a joke in gymnastics. Men can get away with doing standing back tucks with less technique, i.e. throwing your head back and gainering, or not keeping arms up because they have upper body strength and women don't. In egalitarian indigenous societies, men and women and other genders played in sports together, and the only barrier to entry and still is physical capability. You're not being misogynistic. Yeah. Of course, everything you're saying is correct. It's just that society values ultra masculinity / physical strength. When women try to attain this, the commentary is that they're always weaker than men. It just feels like women are undermined, and the relative weakness makes us lesser people, apparently, you know? Well, the reason why we started this is because the way women on this show are looked down upon by the men in every single challenge is seen as weaker, as if Jung Yoon still isn't stronger than half these men. I need them to be serious. That's where the conversation started. Like, recognizing these kinds of physical differences does not mean, that you're a sexist person. It's just so stupid. Like, he at least has 50 pounds on her. Try 100, dude. He has like 100 pounds on her. And the other thing is, like, even if he had 100 pounds on her, that's still legitimately a size difference that's hard to fucking, that's still legitimately a size difference that's hard to account for. But sorry, Jank is like texting me. You're arguing with nerds who have not watched the show and will not watch the show is Twitch chatters. Yeah, that's true. It's still hard to account for the size differences, but even then, it's like the dude is also like a professional athlete. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's crazy to me. The motherfuckers are saying this. Also, new drama breaking. No TAM due to an active air defense operation issued in parts of Yukon, Canada.